Hello. Thanks for tuning in again to Earth to Claudette. Hope you guys are doing all right out there. Hope that life isn't lifing too hard. And I hope that God is coming through even more. So anyway, today I just want to talk about perceptions. Right, so lately there's been a lot of couples breaking up, people that we thought their love lives were solid. All of a sudden, just dropping a hey, we're getting divorced notice on the internet. And I want to say that it's devastating. It's disappointing, when you see these seemingly happy couples and couples that their success stories, how they got together, right? And the success that they have in their fields. So when you hear the message, I know for me, so I can't speak to everybody else, because some people on the internet out here I knew it, I seen it, I see the way he looked at her, or she didn't let him talk, he didn't let her talk, so I knew this was gonna happen. Some people rejoice in this sort of thing. I am not one of those people. I actually think it's sad, but it really speaks to perception. So one person, I won't say her name, popular art celebrity actress, so you probably can deduce who it is by putting two and two together by the time I'm making this video and the time the announcement was made. But she, I remember the story of how they got together, right? Because there's a point where everyone glorifies how these couples have gotten together, and for myself, I would kind of look up to that and be like, oh, that's so sweet. He did what? And they did what? That's how they got together. And now they're this happily ever after married couple, beautiful couple, lots of money, beautiful children. Everything is perfect. And only to find out one day, nope, it hasn't been perfect. And what's crazy is the Instagram photos been seeming so much more amazing. The Instagram photos and the imagery just seems to get so much better while things are so horrible, evidently have been horrible by, I guess as shown by the divorce being filed. But it's crazy. I'm yesterday and this past month, your Instagram photos have been so popping, so lit. Honestly, I wished I was kind of like you during that time, not knowing that maybe you were working really hard to put forward the perception that things were great in order to cover or hide from your real life, And one thing I've seen or I've noticed in the spiritual is a lot of the couples that I feel were so heavily promoted as the ideal power couple or the perfect family, husband and wife, perfect image, super attractive couples, those are the first ones after some years, or those are the ones that you wake up the next day and it's done. Another thing I've noticed in the spiritual is that the enemy would use those couples to taunt people. And I can't just speak for others, but I know for myself, in certain moments and times, I'm man, by this time such and such already was on baby number 1, and I'm here trying to get a call back from a dude and it's not happening, not knowing that it's a lie. What they had was a facade or a farce, and God knows how long that they've been operating as a couple unhappily and putting on a face for everyone else. But now, I have to be respectful, because honestly, marriage is God's thing. And I think we are getting into a time where people are treating it like it's nothing, oh, you discard of one, you get somebody else. But marriage is a deep thing. It's sacred. You take those vows before God, it is serious business. So I cannot speak on anyone's marriage. I don't know what goes on. And even with these recent surprise divorces, the world doesn't know really what's going on. Only the couple and maybe the family members sort of see what's going on, But I say all that to say that we cannot be fooled by how beautiful something looks on the outside. We can't allow the enemy to use what other people portray as an ideal and measure ourselves to that ideal, because a lot of times it's not real, it's fake, and it doesn't last. So for myself, sometimes, again, adding to that example, saying like, oh, all these couples, like sometimes, I'd hear how they got together and then be wondering how come it didn't happen for me that way, or, and that's honestly why I stopped seeking out a lot of those, like, how we met stories, or looking at couples online, like specifically just to observe how they interact as a couple, because a lot of this stuff is a lie, okay? And it's not the formula. Like, they didn't have the formula from the beginning, and time shows that they don't have it at all, and they never did have it. And so we can't compare someone else's journey, like even if it's a couple, like a marriage, relationship, a status, or anything, or someone's career. We can't compare and subject ourselves to that, because God has more ways to bless us and more ways to bring things to pass. And God is the one who sees and knows all. He knows what's going on. We do not. Even with all this technology, we got all this surveillance we have in the form of cameras, videos. People even claim that they're putting themselves and their lives on blast, or being vulnerable by creating their own content. But a lot of it is a farce, a lot of it is fake. And so we just have to be grateful for where we are and seek the truth all the time, right? And not subject ourselves. I know that I realize I cannot subject myself to anyone else's idea or timeline for my life. Like, my life, my plans are in the hands of the Father, and by His grace, I'm able to accomplish that which He would have for me, And yes, I have my own dreams and I have my own desires, but I think it's good to pray that we allow our desires to become God's desires, because when we have that, like, we're straight. It doesn't matter how everyone else's situation looks like. It doesn't matter how pretty their photo looks, or how awesome their wardrobe is, or their hair, or whatever the aesthetic is. Or maybe even the perceived bank account, how much money they seem to have. Like, the best thing that we could have is confidence in God, trust in God, and just like God's peace, that what we have and where we have is enough in that moment, and that God is bringing us to where we need to go, and by His grace and His glory, we'll get there, So, that's my 2 cents. And I also think that people during this time are being challenged to be more confident within themselves. Like, there was a time where, the whole thing was to, okay, you went to school, or you get to a certain age, you get married, you have children, and then that defines you, right? Because you're just following this order and this step. I think that what we're finding now is that people are being challenged to develop within themselves and their identities with who God has called them to be. Now, there are some beautiful marriages out there that people have met when they were teenagers and met really young, and they, by the grace of God, have been able to continue to be together for decades. And I pray that they stay together, because I think that's beautiful. However, I don't think that we can cover or hide or escape from that personal development work any longer. Like, we cannot use another person to cover us. Like, we were trying to use fig leaves, after the fall, Adam and Eve, and God is like, where are you, Adam? Right? You're out there using fig leaves. People are out here using marriages to cover their nakedness. And God is like, nope, it's not gonna last. Like, it's either the fig leaves, like, or people use these things and it just doesn't last. Like, they can't hold on to it. So I honestly feel like it pushes some of them closer to like their demise. So I just say all that to say the best thing you could do at this time and for the rest of your life is to just be in the presence of God. Seek him out. Pray. I'm a prayer person, so continuously talking to God, allowing the voice of God to minister to you and seeking him and not being afraid of like messing up, because we are going to fall short. That's the point of going to God, is knowing that you need him, that you're not good enough in your own strength. You're not good enough in your own perception, in your own actions, your own doing, and your own thinking. None of that. We need God. So in everything, we need him to help us make the right choices. We need him to just help us to get back up, even though sometimes too God will have us choose something that he knows wasn't forever, because it's meant to do something, some sort of refining work in us. So in that case, we need God. So all the time we need God. So we cannot look to anyone else's formula or what seems like to be the right answer or the solution for our lives. Really, it's God, and that work is a personal work. We got to go to the face of the Father ourselves. Our spouses can't do it for us. Our parents can't do it for us. Like after a certain point in age, once you're grown, it's you and God. So make sure you are working that thing out daily. It's not going to be perfect all the time, no, but it's so worth it. Just seek him. The more that I grow, I realize like, God, I really need you. So yeah, I'm gonna prioritize your stuff all the time. And people could laugh at you and call you the old church man or old church woman, but really they're gonna come to you. They're gonna be coming to you for help when things go awry, when they thought they had it together, when they thought they were hot and fresh and young and new. They're gonna be going to you, that old church lady or old church man, for help, because you're gonna be the one with peace, because you're gonna have the peace and the presence of God, and people are gonna be after that. So yeah, this video was like a thought piece, I would say. And really the best thing for us in this world and in our lifetimes is God. So yeah. Hope you were blessed by this message in some way, shape, or form. This is not a prayer video or like a direct evangelistic effort, but there's some in there. If I'm gonna talk, you're gonna hear God. God is gonna come through in here. So I pray this blesses you. So stay encouraged, continue on your path, and never forget to seek God. Have a great day.